My name is Mary T. Jones, 29 years old. My boyfriend had secretly rented the house next door with the help of his friends, and I had no idea about it at all. One night, I suddenly woke up to loud music. I went to the window and looked out. There he was, dancing. Then, all of a sudden, he stumbled outside and ran right into me. In anger, he said, "Go away from here! You have no business being here!" I left, picked up my things, and walked out, leaving him alone. 1 month later, his best friend called me and explained everything clearly. I am an emergency room physician at a regional hospital in Charlotte. Long shifts, high stress, too much coffee, too many nights where you come home with someone else's fear still stuck to your skin. I love what I do, but the job teaches you something humbling. You can read vital signs in seconds. You can spot internal bleeding before a patient understands what is happening. You can make life or death decisions under fluorescent lights with alarms screaming around you. And still, somehow, you can be completely blind to what is happening in your own life. I work 4 12-hour shifts a week, sometimes more when we are short-staffed. The rest of the time, I try to keep things simple. Quiet neighborhood, modest 2-bedroom house I bought 3 years ago, small front porch, old oak tree, decent kitchen, enough space to breathe. It was the kind of street where people waved but did not pry, where dogs barked at mail trucks and everyone pretended to mind their own business. At least, that was what I thought until last October. I had been dating Isaac for almost 2 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue in late 2023, one of those warm September afternoons where the air smells like charcoal and cut grass, and everyone is relaxed enough to become more charming than they are on a normal day. Isaac was standing near the cooler, laughing at something someone said, and when he looked up and caught my eye, I felt that stupid little pull people write songs about. We talked for 3 hours that day. He was funny, sharp, confident without being cruel. He worked in marketing for a tech startup and always had some campaign idea he was excited about, always thinking 3 steps ahead, always making ordinary things sound like they had secret doors inside them. He had this way of looking at you, like the room had narrowed down to only your face. We were not living together, but we were close. We saw each other 4 or 5 times a week. He came over after my shifts. We ordered takeout, watched movies, talked about our days. He stayed most weekends. We talked every night when we were apart. His toothbrush was in my bathroom. His favorite coffee creamer was in my fridge. He had a hoodie in my laundry basket more often than not. I was thinking about rings, about asking him to move in, about a future with children and a dog, and all the normal things people imagine when love starts feeling permanent. The house next door had been empty for 6 months. The old tenant moved out in March, and the landlord had been trying to fill it ever since. It was a rental, decent condition, small front yard with a maple tree, same layout as mine. I saw realtors bring people by a few times, but nothing stuck. The rent was a little high for the area, so I figured it would sit empty for a while. Then, in mid-September, I noticed movement. A moving truck on a Saturday morning. Furniture going in. Cars coming and going at odd hours, late night, early morning. I assumed it was a new tenant, maybe someone with a weird schedule like mine. I did not think twice about it. I should have. October 14th was a Saturday. I had just gotten home from a brutal 12-hour ER shift. 2 traumas, 1 cardiac arrest, a child who had fallen off a trampoline and fractured his skull. The kind of day that makes silence feel like medicine. I showered, heated leftover pasta, and collapsed into bed. Around 11, I texted Isaac goodnight. He replied that he was having a quiet night in, watching Netflix. I believed him. I fell asleep almost instantly. Around 1:30 in the morning, I woke up to bass thumping through my bedroom wall. Not faint party noise, loud. The kind that rattles picture frames and makes your bones feel hollow. At first, I thought I was dreaming. Then I sat up and realized the music was coming from next door. I got out of bed, threw on a hoodie and sweatpants, and went to the window. Lights blazed from every window of the rental house. Shadows moved behind the curtains. Cars lined the street, at least 6 I did not recognize. I checked my phone. 1:47. I had to be back at the hospital by 7. I was annoyed, but I was not trying to be dramatic. I did not want to call the police on new neighbors. I decided to be reasonable, introduce myself, ask them to turn it down. Good neighbor, calm adult, no unnecessary conflict. I walked outside. The air was cold, that sharp October chill settling into the street. The music got louder with every step across the narrow driveway between our houses. I could feel the bass in my chest. Before I could knock, the door swung open. And there he was. Isaac stumbled out laughing, red Solo cup in hand, hair messy, shirt half untucked, eyes glassy. He was wearing a black button-down I had never seen before, the kind of shirt someone wears when they want to be noticed. He did not see me at first. He was turned back toward the house, shouting something to someone inside, laughing so hard he almost spilled his drink. Then he turned and nearly ran into me. His face changed instantly. The laughter died. His eyes went wide, then narrow, then cold. "What are you doing here?" he said. Not a question. An accusation. I stared at him. What am I doing here? I live next door. What are you doing here? He stepped back, unsteady on his feet, gripping the doorframe. Behind him, I saw people inside. Women I did not know. A couple of men. One woman with dark hair wearing a silver top looked toward us from the hallway. Someone turned the music down slightly. "Go away from here," Isaac said, voice sharp. "You have no business being here." For a second, I honestly thought I had misheard him. "Are you serious right now?" He glared at me like I was a stranger trespassing on his private life. "Isaac, what the hell is going on?" He crossed his arms, swaying slightly. "I said, leave. I do not want you here. You are renting this place? That is none of your business. It is literally next door to my house." His jaw tightened. He looked past me toward my porch, like my home was the problem. Like I had ruined something by existing too close to the truth. "You told me you were staying in tonight," I said. "You texted me 2 hours ago." He did not answer. The dark-haired woman moved closer behind him. She said something softly, and Isaac nodded without looking back. That small nod hurt more than I expected. It was familiar, intimate, like they had already discussed what to do if I appeared. I stood there, waiting for him to laugh, to explain, to say this was some insane misunderstanding. He did not. He just looked at me with cold irritation, like I had interrupted a version of him I was never supposed to meet. So I left. I walked back to my house with my hands shaking, locked the door, and sat on the couch in the dark. The music started again after a few minutes and continued until almost 4 in the morning. I did not sleep. At 6, I got dressed for work and drove to the hospital, feeling like my body was there, but the rest of me had been left standing under that porch light. After my shift, I texted him. "What was that last night?" No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. By Sunday evening, confusion had hardened into anger. I called 3 more times, texted again. "If you want to break up, fine, but you owe me an explanation." Nothing. On Wednesday, I texted his best friend, Jenna. She and Isaac had been inseparable since college. If anyone knew what was happening, it was her. She replied hours later. "He is fine. He just needs space." Space from what? What did I do? "I cannot get in the middle of this, Mary. I am sorry." That was when I stopped trying. The house next door stayed active. Parties most weekends, music, laughter, car doors slamming at all hours. Sometimes I saw Isaac's car there in the driveway like it belonged. I kept my blinds closed and wore earplugs to bed. 2 years together, and I did not even get a conversation. Just silence. And 15 feet away, the truth kept partying without me. October dragged on like a bad dream I could not wake from. I kept working because the hospital does not pause for heartbreak. People still came in, bleeding, scared, confused, needing me to be steady. So I was steady. I stitched wounds, I ordered scans, I explained test results to worried families. I stood under fluorescent lights and pretended I was still the same person who had not watched her boyfriend stumble out of the house next door and tell her she had no business being there. But every time I came home, the truth waited for me 15 feet away. The rental stayed active. Friday nights, Saturday nights, sometimes random Wednesdays. Cars along the curb, music shaking the windows, people laughing on the porch. I saw Isaac's car there more than once, parked in the driveway like it belonged there. Like he belonged there. Like the house was not a secret pressed up against the side of my life. I kept my blinds closed. That became the saddest part of my routine. I used to love my bedroom window. In the mornings, light came through at an angle that made the floor look golden. Now I kept the curtains shut, because I could not stand the possibility of seeing him next door, laughing with people who knew something I did not. I texted Isaac twice more in the first week. Nothing. I called once. Voicemail. After that, I stopped. Not because I had answers, but because chasing someone who was actively hiding from me started to feel like helping him humiliate me. Jenna stayed evasive too. I sent one last message asking if Isaac was safe, if something had happened, if I should be worried. She replied with, "He is dealing with things. Please give him space." Space. Everyone kept asking me to give Isaac space, while he apparently had an entire secret house next door. By Halloween, I was sleeping with earplugs and still waking up angry. They had a party that night. Orange lights in the windows, people in costumes spilling onto the porch. I came home from a night shift at 2 a.m. and saw a man dressed like a vampire throwing up into the bushes between our houses. I almost laughed because, if I did not, I might have screamed. Then, on November 12th, exactly 1 month after that night, my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally, I would ignore it. Spam calls, fake insurance offers, some recording about my car warranty. But I was sitting on my couch in scrubs after a night shift, half asleep, and something made me answer. Hello? Mary? The voice was shaky. It is Jenna. I sat up so fast my pulse jumped. Jenna? What is going on? There was a long pause. I could hear traffic behind her, like she was standing outside somewhere, trying not to be overheard. I need to tell you something, she said, and I need you to listen first. Please, do not interrupt until I finish. My stomach went cold. Okay. Another pause. Isaac rented that house, she said, on purpose, next to you. For a second, I could not understand the words. What? He planned it for months. He found out the place was available back in August. He got 3 friends to go in on it with him. They have been using it as a party spot, a place to hang out, a place to bring people they did not want in their real lives. My hand tightened around the phone. People like who? Jenna exhaled. He has been seeing someone else since July. Her name is Camilla. She is the woman you probably saw that night. I closed my eyes. The woman in the silver top. The soft voice behind him. The nod. He did not want to break up with you, Jenna continued, words spilling faster now. He wanted to keep you around because you were stable, The doctor girlfriend, the house, the future, all of that. But he also wanted this other life. Parties, Camila, freedom, whatever he called it. So he rented the house next door with his friends because he thought it was funny. Funny, I whispered. They would sit there and laugh about how close he was to you, how you had no idea. He called it his project. Something inside me went very still. Not broken. Still. Why are you telling me now? I asked. Because I cannot keep lying for him, Jenna said, and her voice cracked. I told him it was cruel. I told him you did not deserve it. But after that night, when he kicked you out like you were nobody, I could not look at him the same. I am sorry, Mary. I should have told you sooner. I did not comfort her. I did not have it in me. She gave me details I did not want, but needed. Camila was someone Isaac met at a marketing conference in Atlanta in July. She worked in sales, flashy and charming, the kind of woman who collected attention like jewelry. The house had been Isaac's idea first, then his friends Bridget, Stephanie, and Camila's sister Paige helped make it happen. They split rent 4 ways, used it for parties, hookups, secrets. A weekend escape disguised as a rental. He showed people pictures of your house, Jenna said quietly. Pictures of you leaving for work in your scrubs. He thought it was hilarious that you were right there and did not know. I looked across my living room at the closed blinds. For a month, I had been hiding from a house full of people who were laughing at me from across the driveway. When the call ended, I sat in silence until the sun went down and the living room turned gray. Then I started planning. I am not a vindictive person by nature. That might sound strange considering what happened next, but it is true. In the ER, revenge is useless. Anger does not stop bleeding. Panic does not restart a heart. You learn to slow your breathing, assess the damage, and act with precision. So when I finally stood up from my couch that evening, I was not shaking anymore. I was calm. And calm, I have learned, can be much more dangerous than rage. The first call I made was to the landlord of the house next door. His name was Gerald, a retired contractor in his 60s. I had saved his number months earlier from the rental sign in case I ever needed to contact him about property lines or repairs. I introduced myself as the neighbor and asked if he knew about the parties happening at his property. "Parties?" he said. "What kind of parties?" Loud music until 3 or 4 in the morning. Cars lining the street. 20 people some nights, maybe more. He went quiet. "The lease says no large gatherings," he said slowly. "Quiet hours after 10. I thought you should know." Then I sent him everything I had. Doorbell footage, time-stamped clips of cars arriving after midnight, people stumbling in and out, someone vomiting near the bushes, music loud enough to be picked up from my porch. I also mentioned that I suspected unauthorized occupants were staying there because I had seen different people coming and going at all hours. Gerald called back 20 minutes later, and his voice had changed. "I will handle it." The second thing I did was message Paige, Camila's sister. Jenna had given me her Instagram handle after I pressed her for it. I kept the message simple. "Hi Paige, you do not know me, but my name is Mary. I was in a relationship with Isaac for almost 2 years. I recently found out he has been seeing your sister Camila since July while he and I were still together. I am not looking for drama. I just thought you deserved the full picture." I expected nothing. 3 hours later, she replied. Holy hell. I had no idea. Then came the twist I did not see coming. Camila had a boyfriend. His name was Adrian. They lived 2 hours away from Charlotte, and according to Paige, he had been planning to propose. Paige sent me screenshots from family group chats, photos of Camila and Adrian at dinners, vacations, birthdays, all smiling like the kind of couple people envied from a distance. So Isaac was not the only liar. Within 2 days, Camilla's social media went dark. Paige told Adrian everything. I never spoke to him directly, but I heard enough to know the relationship ended fast and badly. The third step was Isaac's workplace. I did not want him fired. I really did not. But Isaac worked for a company with strict ethics policies about workplace conflicts and undisclosed relationships. Camilla's sister Paige worked in the same company, different team, same floor, same management chain. The secret house, the parties, the overlapping personal relationships, the deception involving employees and relatives, all of it was messy enough to matter. So I sent a factual email to HR. No insults, no emotional language, just names, timeline, potential conflict of interest, and a note that I had documentation if needed. Then I waited. By late November, the house next door was empty. I came home from a shift on November 28th and saw a notice taped to the front door. Eviction proceedings, lease violations, excessive noise, unauthorized occupants, property damage. I stood by my window and watched over the next few days as they moved out. No music, no laughter, no red cups. Just boxes, slammed car doors, and the heavy silence of people realizing the party had ended. Isaac came twice during the day, probably thinking I would be at work. I was not. I watched him load bags into his car with his head down, hair messy, no performance left in him. He never contacted me. Not to apologize, not to explain, not to ask if I was okay. Nothing. That told me more than any confession could have. Jenna called me in early December. She said Isaac was furious and knew I had helped expose everything. He was telling mutual friends I was obsessed, that I had sabotaged him because he needed space, that I was using my status as a doctor to make him look unstable. But the truth had already spread faster than his version. People asked questions. Friends compared timelines. Camilla's boyfriend had receipts. Paige confirmed what she knew. Jenna, to her credit, stopped protecting him. Slowly, quietly, the circle around Isaac got smaller. Camilla's relationship with Adrian ended within a week. Isaac's workplace became awkward after HR started asking questions. I do not know exactly what happened there, and I do not care enough to find out. Last I heard, he moved to a different part of Charlotte and picked up freelance marketing work because things at the startup had become uncomfortable. The house next door got new tenants in mid-December. A couple in their 40s with a golden retriever named Murphy. Quiet, friendly, normal. They wave when they see me. Sometimes we talk about the weather, or trash pickup, or how Murphy keeps stealing socks from the laundry basket. It is peaceful now. I deleted Isaac's number in January, blocked him on everything: Instagram, Facebook, email. I packed up the few things he had left at my place: a hoodie, a charger, 2 books, and a bottle of that ridiculous coffee creamer he loved, and dropped them at a donation center. It felt less dramatic than I expected. No music swelling, no tears in the parking lot. Just a cardboard box leaving my hands. I still think about it sometimes. How someone I loved could build an entire second life 15 feet from my front door. How he could text me goodnight from a party next door and laugh about it with people who knew my face. How he could make me feel like a stranger for standing on the sidewalk beside my own house. But I also know I dodged something worse. Imagine if I had asked him to move in. Imagine if I had proposed. Imagine if I had built a future with a man who thought betrayal was clever as long as I did not find the door. I am not the same person I was before this. I am slower to trust now. I ask more questions. I notice inconsistencies. I pay attention when someone's story has too many locked rooms. But I am also stronger. because Isaac wanted me in the dark. Instead, I turned the lights on. And once I saw everything clearly, I did the only thing left to do. I walked away from the house next door and finally came home to myself.